We're back on the People Chronicles with David Lomnychuk, and we are traveling back from Key West, Florida, where you're at the top of the line here. You have a job, you have a position, you are taking control on the weekends, and now you're coming back home. Why?
I miss the family. At the end of the day, my grandmother was still alive and my brothers were doing well, and I missed my nieces and I missed my parents, and I needed to be with that family. I need to be with my family. And I think what Key West did for me was it not only gave me the hospitality education firsthand, but I can remember those nights of talking to my mom on the phone till 1 and 2 and 3 in the morning, and her saying, you have to open up the hotel tomorrow at 7 a.m. You have to open up the housekeeping department. You got to get to bed. So even though we were 1,000 miles apart, it brought us closer together by far.
It certainly sounds like you have a very supportive family.
Absolutely. Some
great friends.
Yes.
And a super area to come back to. Mm-hmm. But how do you know what lies ahead for you?
Well, what made me decide to come back home was when I was in Key West, my mom, my brother, and my niece actually came down and surprised me, and I had no idea. And they were actually waiting in one of the guest rooms at the hotel, and the room called for towels. And when I went to deliver the towels, the guest wasn't answering the door. So protocol was you have to go in and you have to just lay them on the bed for them. And when I opened the door, there was several of the supervisors at the hotel, and my family was there, and they all yelled surprise. And it was the absolute neatest experience of my entire life. And my family stayed for a week, and the day that they left, I was extremely emotional. I was 20 years old at the time. And that night, I was already looking for plane tickets and jobs back up here in Reading. I knew for sure I was meant to be close to my family. So I came back home here to Reading, and I got a position at the Sheraton in Wyomissing. It was the Sheraton at the time, and I started off as their director of housekeeping, and I went through the conversion from Sheraton to Reading Crown to Crown Plaza. And I was there for just about 3 years. When I decided that I had that itch to get into business again. I felt that I had learned everything I could from hospitality and working in the hotel industry, but that at the age of 23, I felt that I truly knew where I wanted to go in life and what I wanted to do. And, I know people who are in their 30s and 40s and some who are even in their 50s and say they don't know what they want to do, where they want to take that next step. And at 23, I feel like I really did have that epiphany of knowing I want to be in business.
And you didn't have any fear? You didn't have a fear of failure or rejection?
I did a little bit in the beginning. I did. And when I had the conversation with my parents, I will never forget sitting at the kitchen table, just myself and the two of them, and them saying to me, what in the world are you thinking? You have a great salary for your age. You are still living at home with us. You moved back home. Like, what in the world are you thinking to want to go out into business in this economy and in a business where it's a luxury to have you? This is not a necessity. This is a luxury. But I knew that with my determination and I have always been very motivated, that I would have no issue whatsoever to start my company and gain clients. I knew for a fact. I knew from day one I had my brand of being different, and I knew that if I would always think towards my brand of everything that I can do to run this company to be different, I'll be fine. And here we are today.
And you're so loved in this community. That's the great thing. For people that don't know you, they should get to know you. And, I really appreciate the fact that you don't put a gay man as a label. It's not a label,
No.
And it doesn't really define who you are. No. You are your own person, and you have a successful, thriving business. David's Cleaning Service is the name of it.
Yes.
And you also help in our community. Where did that idea come from? And tell us what it is that you do.
So when I got my LLC back in 2010, I knew right away I wanted to be different, and I did look at my competitors, and I saw what were they doing, and the unfortunate thing at the time was everybody was just kind of providing cleaning services, and again, being that I wanted to be different, I started looking up that night. Literally, I got the LLC that morning, and that night I started.
Who was guiding you? You had to have had some sort of guidance for this.
I found a pretty good friend who, to this day, we are very, very, very close. We're best of friends. And I found her in the business community. And she was actually my very first client for my business. And she was my resource. And I would call her at, 11, 12, 1 in the morning and start, telling her my ideas. And we just became very, very good friends, and she was definitely there as a resource for me. But what's awesome is now, with my company thriving as much as it is, she's also in business. She manages a company, and she has staff who are around my age. She's a little bit older. She's a little more matured. And if she ever has staff issues, she will come to me and say, how would you handle this?
Wow,
so
perfect.
Whereas she helped me back then, there are times now where she'll come to me and I'm kind of that resource for her. So I found an agency called Cleaning for a Reason, and I was immediately intrigued by the concept of providing free cleaning services to cancer patients. I thought it was awesome. And I immediately contacted the organization, and I became affiliated. I became a partner with them. However, the only downside of joining that organization was they provide cleaning services to female cancer patients. And when I started getting phone calls from men who said, I'm battling with cancer, or I already received phone calls from families who their child had cancer, how can you say no? It doesn't make any sense to say, well, I'm affiliated with this agency, however, we're not going to take you on as a client. So I made the decision to actually stop being a part of that organization and just go out on my own and do it. And so all we ask to have you as a client, and we don't refer to our clients as cancer patients. They are clients of our company. There's nothing we do that's different. We don't treat them any different at all. All I ask is just to see a doctor's note that that everything is completely valid. Other than that, we will provide 20 complimentary hours, and they can spread it out into 2 10-hour cleanings or 4 5-hour cleanings. They can have us do special projects if maybe they can do the dusting and the vacuuming, but they can't handle doing the bathrooms and they need the basement cleaned, or they want the refrigerator and freezer cleaned, or the interior of their kitchen cabinets done. So we'll truly customize and tailor it to how they're feeling and how they're going with their health. And it has been amazing.
Now, being so young and having your own business, where do you see yourself a couple of years down the road from here? Just kind of, sitting back and not being so involved in the business, or do you have another plan lined up for you as well?
Well, I just recently became single, so that
hint.
So that kind of threw a little curveball in, but I really couldn't be happier right now where I am in life.
And it shows.
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. But there are some things in the works for David's cleaning service, and there's going to be. I have a very, very big project that's on the. I'm just kind of keeping it on the down low for now, but I have found that with how I go about doing things, very, very different. And really, when I say our brand is Discover the Difference, that is not just a fancy tagline. We are different on every single level possible, from the service we provide to the employees that we hire, to how we train. So we actually have been asked by a few companies in the last year about possibly consulting and coaching. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, you also speak at local high schools as well.
Yeah, so I'm actually in the developmental stages of developing a software for the cleaning industry.
Wow.
And so I hope to introduce that within the next year to year and a half. And not only would we be using it, but we could also then sell it to other businesses that maybe are struggling a little bit, because this industry it's a difficult industry to be in. This is not an easy industry. And so many times people have the mentality that I clean my own house and I can clean. That's not always the case. There's days where we have 12, 15, 18 houses to do in one day. So you have to have the staff, you have to know exactly who's going where and that they have the right supplies. And it's a tough industry to be in. But I think with my determination, we managed to pull it off every day. We managed to take care of all of our clients, both residential and commercial, because we have our daytime operation and we have our nighttime operation. And so we definitely we're branching down towards the Philadelphia area. We started that last year. We received some phone calls from Philadelphia, so we now service that area. And last year we actually received our very first phone call from a client in Delaware.
Outstanding.
Heard about
word
us.
Of mouth.
Yes,
again.
Bingo. It's word of mouth. Absolutely. So, there's going to be some good things happening for the company.
With your determination, I can see that there is no star that is too high to reach, obviously.
Absolutely.
So we really want to thank you for being so open and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And hopefully our younger listeners will get the idea that it is okay, to take a jump and follow a dream, or maybe if you have an idea, stick with it, find out how you can make that idea a bigger idea, and so forth.
And the other thing that I just want to end with is when I speak to these high school students and to the college students, I always tell people, call me and I can be a resource for you. And so any listener that is out there that is possibly thinking about going into business for themselves, they can absolutely just Google David's Cleaning Service and you will find our website and our Facebook page and our phone number, and they can absolutely reach out to me. I would be more than happy to be a resource.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The single David Lomnychuk here with us from David's Cleaning. I'm Jackie Hoffman, and these are the People Chronicles.